Streaming. Start recording. Boom. Stream is beginning. Stream is beginning.
What's going on, Kim?
Man, we don't mess with you, Kira. What's going on, Kira? See, that's why I don't mess with you now, Kira. That's why I don't mess with you right now.
What you think?
See, she don't say nothing to me. That's why I don't mess with her right now. Oh, yeah, we can share that, can't we? Yeah, we can share that. We can share that. Yeah, we're going to look at we're going to look at people who publish the word. I'm going to try to be as brief as possible. I ain't decided on what I'm going to go with on the Shabbat night. You got something for them on Shabbat? They don't, man. You got something for them? You hear me, Will? I said, you got something for them on Shabbat? They don't. You got something for them, don't? I said, you got something for them on Shabbat day, right?
Yeah, I had something for him.
Yeah, I'm going to still keep going with the stuff with the women. You know, I gave y'all 1 Samuel 25, so that's dealing with Abigail. So we'll look at Abigail, which means we'll look at some other righteous, upright women. You know, and rock it like that. You know what I'm saying? You know, praise Lamb for the stream, though. Stream make it a lot easier to navigate. You know, last night, I was listening to, these dudes getting ready. You know, they're having this debate about what is the law for. And, you know, my man Sal was like, hey, how you feel about the debate? And I'm like, really? I can't really. Like, that topic is so simplistic that a man should be able to show it quite easily. I know the dude was like, if you say you keep the law, then you don't seek justification from Mashiach, which I don't know why he would believe that or say that out of his mouth. You know, I see a lot of people say a lot of things, talk about a lot of things, say a lot of things, don't really be knowing what they're talking about. You know, if dudes actually knew the word a little bit better, things wouldn't be the way they be. Hello? So, what's going on with you, man? Things wouldn't be the way that they are, you know what I'm saying? But unfortunately, people don't really know the word like that, and you know it is what it is. So that's why I always implore y'all to learn the law, learn the word, you know, read on your own, study on your own, you know, ask questions. You know what I'm saying? If you don't understand something, say you don't understand something. And be an active participant in your quote unquote spiritual education. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're just not here for no reason, just to hear me expound on some couple things. It is for you to be able to grow spiritually, mentally, and emotionally to attain a certain level of ability. It's like we're talking with a brother this afternoon. No, Leah. We were talking with a brother this afternoon. He was asking about the locks and and I had, you know what I'm saying, and just certain things like that, you know. And what we was going over is what we had went over a while back because he was looking at the video on that. And you know, the information that we dealt with is so rare. You know what I'm saying? That, you know, people might not understand our perspective or necessarily see where our perspective comes from. You know what I'm saying? You know. Now, of course, he was doing what I just was mentioning. He was seeking understanding. You know, calls me to understand the reading or understand the stance which you just expressed. You have to make sure that if we going through it and you don't necessarily understand the reading, that you do what you need to do so you can understand the reading. And that would be to ask questions. It's just like in 1 Corinthians 14 when he said if the woman have questions, let her ask at home. She's just stating that she got questions because you may have questions. I mean, that's just what it is. You know, I had a conversation earlier, you know what I'm saying? An individual was talking to me about how individuals can take the word and manipulate the word to suit their particular agenda. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, that's something that I can't do and I won't do. You know what I'm saying? Just on a simple fact, I go to hell for that. You know what I'm saying? Go to hell for that. You trying to take the word, because I'm gonna tell you something, right? I think it's a verse in one of these epistle letters. But, people like to say, the devil knows the Bible, he knows the word. No, he doesn't know the word. He's aware of what the word states, but he doesn't know it. So what he can do is use it against you knowing that you don't know it. And not being aware of it, but knowing that you don't know it. And then he can take it and cause you to think that up is down and down is up. Just like he told the woman, you shall not surely die. He knew what the word said, and he knew what the consequence of it was, but he can't really give you something tangible. You know what I'm saying? You have to always be leery. And also because the brother told me he did the same thing. And I guess I'll read it to y'all this evening. But 1 John chapter 4 tells you to try the spirits, to whether they be a Elohim or not. And I done told y'all before, I done been in the street and people come up to me and ask me certain questions and say this, and I never got offended. I can remember right now because I'm thinking about it. I was round the way out there in Justina, you know what I'm saying? On the block, dropping some word, you know what I'm saying? The lady came to me and she went to asking me certain questions. I can't remember one of them. I think she asked me, did I believe in the master? I know that was one of them. You know what I'm saying? And it had immediately came into my mind what she was doing. She was doing 1 John chapter 4. You know what I'm saying? And when she got finished, I told her, I'm like, I'm not offended that you asked me these questions. You just did what the book told you to do. You know what I'm saying? And if some of y'all can remember when certain situations went down, that I sat in front of everybody and you could ask me all the questions that you want to ask me. I didn't run and hide for no questions. I didn't duck no questions. I didn't try to make anything suit what was going on at the time. I just said what the book said and kept it moving. You know what I'm saying? It's not that serious for me. And that's only because, now me and Will were kind of about this morning. Like, praise be to y'all, he gave me a gift. At the same token though, as long as I get in that gate, that's all I care about. That's gift or no gift. You know what I'm saying? I don't need a gift to get in this gate. You know what I'm saying? All I want to do is get in this gate. That's all I care about. That's all that matters to me. You know what I'm saying? I was telling somebody earlier, like, yeah, I got a gift. But I never thought, like, we talk greasy now, we pop a little, talk a little trash. We from Jacksonville, we talk a little sport. That's what we do. But I don't think that I'm better than nobody because I possess that information, because that information is a responsibility. It's a very, very strong responsibility. One that, as the Apostle Paul has stated, that a steward, a Elohim, must be found faithful. So for him to give you that, you have to be a faithful individual, and you have to know what to do with what you have. Because when you have something of that, you can use that for the betterment of people, or it can be used for the destruction of people. It's all going to be contingent on the individual who possesses it, the mind and heart and ruach that they have, and what their aim is to do with it. Because a lot of people had information in their possession that could have been good for people, but it ended up being in destruction for people because of the motives and agendas that particular individual may have possessed. You know what I'm saying? So you have to sit back and look at, and that goes on to this one major key thing, and that's thinking about the information and your moves, how they affect other people. You know what I'm saying? See, if you only sit back and you can only see things from your perspective, you sit back and look at when you make this decision or you make this move, how will this affect other people? You know what I'm saying? Like, I got a business and I got people who rock with me on this business very closely. You know what I'm saying? The decisions that I make don't just affect me, it affects them. Hello? Hello?
Yeah, this is true.
What's happening
Yeah,
with
they
you?
true.
What's happening with y'all? Like, it affects other people. You have to look at that. See, I had a conversation like that once, right? Because I went and did something. And it was only because I was trying to do two things at once. And it didn't go through. And it bothered me greatly. And you know what I'm saying? Because that decision affected somebody else. This didn't affect me. Not just me, but three other people. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't nothing negative. I'm feeling like, dang, I done let these people down because I could have networked this and did this a little different. You know what I'm saying? Because if I'm doing certain things and people are connected to it, then I know that I have a responsibility to these people. And that there's no room for mistakes because my mistake can affect them. You know what I'm saying? So you have to look at that. Now, what you do can affect other people. And if you don't look at decisions you make long term to see how they can affect other people, then you're selfish and you're not thinking far enough ahead to see like what this could do. Like it's certain things I sit back out and think about like this here, right? Like the Black Panthers. It was certain decisions that some of them made about people who they messed with, or moves that they made that affected thousands of people. Of course, they didn't see that at the time because they were thinking the move that they made wasn't even that serious. And some of them, it cost them their lives and freedom. See, I'm mentioning that end because what we involved in with this word is not regular. And there's going to come where the powers that be will angle to get at us. You know what I'm saying? And you don't want to give them any decision or move that I make, I have to think it out. Because it's not just going to affect me, it's going to affect everybody. Make one bad move, could get everybody killed. One bad move could get everybody locked up. You know what I'm saying? Like, just like straight like that. Ain't even no other way to put that. You know what I'm saying? As a man, as you get older, see, I may not have any children. I may not have a family, no wife or none of that there, but I've known that from my time for dealing with people. If you deal with people, you make moves with people, or you're affiliated with people, and you do things, your decisions can affect them. Just like the decisions can affect you if y'all are interconnected. So you have to think about that type of stuff. That's why he say a steward got to be found faithful. Because, you know, everybody wants to know the word and have the word and dispense it to people. But if you notice, he gives it to people whom he deems as faithful enough to carry it. People that he know will be responsible with it. Not only in word, but in deed and in truth. That's why people wonder, well, why you don't hear about this or why you don't hear about this? Because maybe, I can't speak for the man, maybe he just don't trust a whole bunch of people with his word. Because he feel like you're gonna mess it up. When I say mess it up, meaning you're not gonna do what you're supposed to do. You're not gonna get out here. You're not gonna move it, or you ain't got. They tell you though, you don't gotta cut it. You're gonna try to cut it so you can get extra. You know what I'm saying? Or use it for your own selfish means and motives. You know, all types of stuff that people do with the word all across the world, whether they Hebrews or not. Because I was telling somebody the other day, man, I can remember sitting in the county jail, 24 years old. We were not talking about the word. You know what I'm saying? We were talking about something totally different. You know what I'm saying? I'll never forget him, Mr. Morrison. You know what I'm saying? He was in there for child abuse because he knocked his old 16-year-old nephew out. And they locked him up for child abuse for knocking his nigga out. So he was like, boy, you gonna be a preacher. And I went off. Because in my mind at the time, all I could see was the dudes that manipulate people for money, or dudes that manipulate women and use the word to have sex with them. That's all I could see, because that's the only perspective and image of a preacher that I had at the time. You know what I'm saying? I can remember my exact words to him that I couldn't play with people like that, because that's their lives. It's people's souls you're talking about. You can't play with people like that. You know what I'm saying? And I see regularly that dudes play with people like that. Ain't got no regard for the people, don't care nothing about these people, don't care about what they say or do, how it affect these people. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are people's lives. It's not just, oh, you're in the truth. You know what I'm saying? It's not, oh, I know I'm an Israelite. It's not about that. This is people literal lives. I'm talking about life, I'm talking about eternal life. This is somebody's life in your hands. This man entrusts you with the word and to look out for his people. You have people's lives literally in your hand. And depending on your character and your spirit, you can manifest life to these people or you can manifest death to these people. And that's a serious responsibility. You know what I'm saying? Then you have to sit back and look at how serious are you about it. Like anything you do, I'm dead serious about it. Dead serious. You know what I'm saying? I don't play no games with it. I will sit down and do my due diligence on stuff. I will try to learn everything that I can learn about what I'm doing so I can make informed decisions, wise decisions, so that I can be as successful as I possibly can, especially if it's something that I really want to do. You know what I'm saying? When I learned about this here, man, this is what I really wanted to do. This wasn't something I just wanted to talk about to people in the street. You know what I'm saying? It ain't, oh, I just wanted some knowledge or nothing. This was my life. I just told Will this yesterday. When I decided to go get my real estate license, I had just been hustling all day, every day, ain't going home, but one day out the week, wearing the same clothes, 6 days straight. You know what I'm saying? Trying to get this bread up to do certain things, and was sitting on about $12,000, $13,000 in like a month. Profit. I ain't talking about we made like that's to the side with work. And when I went to take that real estate class and passed that class, I went back down there and I had rocks on me and I'm like, why are you even here? What's wrong with you? You know what I'm saying? I sold my dope to, may he rest in peace to John, bomb, and left and walked away. Cause I say I'm gonna go after this because this is what I want to do. It's that serious to me. I'm not tied to that. That means absolutely nothing to me. You know what I'm saying? That's how I felt about the world when I learned about this word. I would walk away from all this stuff. This stuff means absolutely nothing to me. I don't care what niggas think about me. I don't care how niggas see me. I don't care how niggas view me. I don't care what niggas got to say about me. All that stuff means absolutely nothing. I don't care. I didn't care before the word. I don't care right now at this very moment that I'm speaking these words. You know what I'm saying? All I care is my soul going to be saved and how this man views me. I don't care if a nigga like me or not. You know what I'm saying? I really don't. I don't care if a nigga love me or not. I don't care if a nigga even believe I know what I'm talking about. I really don't care. You know what I'm saying? What is that going to do for me? I don't need a validation from another human being. If my Elohim's not going to validate me, what do I need that from another person for? What is that going to do for me? You know what I'm saying? Because this is my life. It's serious to me. You know what I'm saying? Me and Will ride yesterday, come back from that Walmart, I'm just showing him like, yeah, bro, that's where we used to be at. That's where I used to be at. Like standing right here on these corners, walking this block. And I was out there faithfully. Every day. You know what I'm saying? Faithfully. Rain, snow, sleet, hot, cold. It could be 110. I'm out here. It could be 10 degrees. I'm out here. I don't even like the cold. I got 2 pairs of pants on with sweatpants on over that, 3, 4 shirts on and a hoodie, all that if it's that cold. Because there was a couple times it was that cold and I had to do that. You know what I'm saying? But I'm out here though. And I'm not going in till it's over. Because I have things that I must attain. It's things that I want to do. And I wasn't scared to fail. You know what I'm saying? If I fail, I learn what I did wrong and come back and correct it and come back stronger the next time. But see, the difference is with this right here, we can't fail. Meaning, we ain't got no business committing sin talking about I failed. We can't fail on that. But what we can do is if we have perspectives or thoughts that are wrong and we see that what that thought or whatever that may be could lead us in a particular direction, we can get that right by this man's word. So we don't end up in a precarious position. Because fire and worms ain't what it do. Don't let nobody lie to you. That ain't what it do. That ain't what it do. You know what I'm saying? At all. So you have to sit back and look at your seriousness, your desire, and your passion to save your soul. Because that lip service ain't going to cut it. You know what I'm saying? I told y'all a few weeks ago, it's a lot of people going to know a lot of information and still go to hell. What good is that? Like, how hungry are you? How desirous are you for success? And whatever it is you may do, but saving your soul first. And an educated man is 9 times out of 10 a successful man. And I ain't talking about educating yourself at nobody's 4-year university. I'm talking about immersing yourself in information or whatever it is that you choose to do. But after you immerse yourself in this information, you begin to able to actually grasp and understand that information and then execute it. Because knowledge without action is worthless. It's worthless. It means absolutely nothing. Lizzie, let her praise to get the show on the road. Lizzie, come on, Lizzie, and bring your sister with you. So just think about it, you know what I mean? Come on, Lizzie. Come on, Lizzie. Hey, Lizzie. You bring me one? You done ate it. I don't want it out of your mouth. That's nasty. That's nasty. Yes. Who was that?
Again.
Who?
Again.
Come on, man. Let us pray, y'all. Let us pray. You ready to pray, Lizzie?
What are you?
Huh? Yes, that's me, man. Who was that, Lizzie?
Again.
You know how to talk.
Again.
Okay, Lizzie. All right, righteous Father Yahuwah, we thank you for thy mercies and thy righteousness and thy truth, an opportunity to hear thy word, to know thee, to understand thee, and to be able to attain eternal life through your Son, Yahushua HaMashiach. We ask that you look upon this people whom you have named Yasharal, to the Yahudim first, and also to the heathen, all those who serve thee in Ruach and truth, who stand before thee in righteousness and goodness, who desire thy salvation. Let thy mercy strengthen them, uphold them, and guide them into that Kadesh place, Jerusalem, the city of salvation, which you swore to our fathers Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that you would give to their seed, that we might dwell in that place, to behold thee, to stand before thee in righteousness, to be quickened to life everlasting. Let you look at assembly of the firstborn individually and collectively. Let our hearts and minds be transformed before thee. Let our hearts be cleaned. Let our minds be clean. Let us bring every thought into captivity of Mashiach, that we might cast down every stronghold and every wicked imagination. Guide us and lead us according to thy truth and thy righteousness and thy mercies, that we only seek the things that please thee, that we might behold thee in mercies, and behold thee in righteousness, and behold thee in truth, that we might be transformed to the image of thy Son, and to dwell in thy kingdom forever. Father, we proceed further. We ask thee for a word from on high, a word of truth and righteousness to come to us, that we may know him that is true, that we are in him that is true, even thy Son, Yahushua HaMashiach. This is the true Elohim and eternal life. Father, we give praise, esteem, and honor to the Most High Yahuwah, by Hashem, Yahushua, this day. So be it. Hold on, Lizzie. Give me a hug, Lizzie. Give me a hug. Give me a hug. Give me a hug. Give me a hug. Bye-bye, Lizzie. Come here, man. You all right, little Tubby? You all right, little Tubby? You all right, little Tubby? No, it's not for little Tubby. All right, y'all. We give praise, esteem, and honor to the Most High Yah, by Hashem, Yahushua, this day, John 5:39. And after John 5:39, Psalms 68 and 4. Psalm 68 and 4. I hope everybody doing all right tonight. We will be on the Riverside on Wednesday, on Saturday, the Riverside on Park Street. On the Riverside on Park Street. Hang out with the white people or something. I don't know. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Abba's name, and you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one of another, and seek not the honor that come from Elohim only? So hallelujah for Yahushua. Psalm 68 and 4 though. I don't know what my other book is. I don't know what happened to it. Oh, there you go. There you go. Gotta keep that work on deck, man. I told them dudes that last night. Better have that wet like this here, man. Dude talking about preparing for a debate. Prepare for a debate for what? Better have that wet work. Cook it up, sell it to him just like that. Psalm 68 and 4 though. Matter of fact, I did read verse 1. We just deal with all that. I work my way down. Let Elohim arise and let his enemies be scattered, and let them also that hate him flee before him. As smoke is driven away, so drive them away. And as wax melt before the fire, so let the wicked perish at the presence of Elohim. But let the righteous be glad, and let them rejoice before Elohim, and yea, let them exceedingly rejoice. It may say, as they smoke driven away, so drive them away. So as wax melt in the fire. See, I want y'all to look at something. Isaiah 33, verse 10. After Isaiah 33, verse 10, Genesis chapter 19. So hold Psalm 68 and go to Isaiah 33 and 10. And then after that, we'll go to Genesis 19, and y'all willing, wherever we hit from after that. Praise the Lamb. Isaiah 33 and 10 says this. Make it 9 though. Say the earth mourn and languish. Lebanon is ashamed and hewn down. Sharon is like a wilderness, and Bashan and Carmel shake off their fruits. Now will I rise, saith Yahuwah. Now will I be exalted. Now will I lift up myself. See, that's what you say when you say the earth is mourning and languishing. You know, in the book of Proverbs, it states that it tells you that while the wicked are in power, the righteous mourn. And see, I say this here because I'm not going to go in no great detail, but I got some information about something that's very, very saddening to me. And it's only saddening for one reason and one reason alone. Because of how it negatively affected people that I care about. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes people can do things and make moves and do stuff to people, and they don't even really care how this stuff can affect them, because they don't actually care about these people. They care about whatever agenda or whatever it is that they're trying to accomplish. You know what I'm saying? I don't like to see people who I care about saddened for no reason. You know what I'm saying? Unless it's you being stupid. You know what I'm saying? Then, hey, you got to suck that up. You know what I'm saying? But people I care about, I don't like them being sad. And I'll do something about it, especially if I know they care about me. Especially if I know that they will ride for me. It's a little different. Because if you die with me and you're going to ride for me, I'm going to ride for you about 10 times harder. You know what I'm saying? 10 times harder. Because I've always been around people that I know that they didn't really care about me. They didn't really like me, and they didn't really love me. And I know it was only a handful, only a small number, only a few that actually love me. Only a few. Only a few. And most people in their life, they don't have that. They don't have that issue. You know what I'm saying? Then when you started dealing with this word, this man say, no, if the world hated you, know if it hated me first. So when you begin to deal with this word, then you'll begin to find out as well that there are not very many people who actually love and care about you. You know, I found a picture from my memories. I just didn't share it from my memories. It say Judas heard all of Mashiach's sermons, all of them, and he cared nothing about that man. It was nothing for him to switch out. And that's why now when you look at the world now, the world is mourning. It's mourning. It's in sadness. So all we had to sit back and look at it, go back in Exodus where your people were crying out because of the oppression. Matter of fact, hold this and go to 1 Peter chapter 2. 1 Peter chapter 2. I'll show you what I'm talking about. 2 Peter chapter 2. My apologies. 2 Peter chapter 2 verse 6. 2 Peter chapter 2 verse 6. 2 Peter chapter 2 verse 6. And it says, and turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, condemned them with an overthrow, making them an ensample unto those that after should live ungodly, and delivered just Lot, vexed with the filthy behavior of the wicked. For that righteous man dwelling among them, seeing and hearing, vexed his righteous soul from day to day with their unlawful deeds. The master know how to deliver the godly out of temptations, and to reserve the unjust until the day of judgment to be punished. But chiefly them that walk after the flesh in the lust of uncleanness and despise government, presumptuous are they, self-willed. They are not afraid to speak evil of dignities. Now, the reason why I read that part there, especially despising the government and walking in the flesh of their lust, and you can come back to Isaiah 33. It's just a conversation that I had with a brother. He called me Saturday night when I was out there in the streets doing what it is that I do. You know what I'm saying? And he was asking me a question. And matter of fact, I'll deal with that right now. I know it seems like I'm not, because I don't want to stray too far from what I got to say. Sit down, Pots. Come over here to John 15:26. I know I just went over this with y'all not too long ago. I feel the need to reiterate this point, though. John 15:26. John 15:26. The brother asked me, he said, he's hearing a lot of brothers say you don't need anybody to teach you. The Ruach is your teacher. Now notice the reason why I'm referencing this because the Apostle Peter, Apostle Kepha has sat back and said that these men despise government. He was talking about the people of Sodom and Gomorrah, they despise government. Or they despise rulership or authority. Is basically what he's telling them. They despise this. So we would have to sit back and look at what authority is it that they're despising. Well, of course, they're despising the authority of Elohim. They're despising his word. But then we have to sit back and look at something. Was Elohim directly talking to these people? No, he was not. He gave his word to men, and men gave his word to these people, and these people rejected these men. They rejected these men. You know what I'm saying? Who were publishing this word to these people. John 15:26. But when the Comforter is come, with whom I will send unto you from the Abba, even the Ruach of truth, which proceed from the Father, he shall testify of me. And ye shall also bear witness, hold on, because you have been with me from the beginning. This is the key point. That every last one of you. Now let's look at this 1 John chapter 4, verse 1. I want you to understand something. This man say, the Comforter, the Ruach of truth, will bear witness to the Son, will testify of the Son, and then he said, you will bear witness of me because you've been with me from the beginning. So when we sit back and look at how were you with him from the beginning, all you need to go back and look at Genesis chapter 1 when he said he made the greater light and the lesser light and the stars. So guess what? He said there were some that were chosen from the beginning through belief in the truth and sanctification of the Ruach. So some people were with him from the beginning that their souls would be saved and that they were sent to bear witness of him. We done dealt with this before. Psalm 139, my members are written in the book before they were even fashioned. That's what he told you. Calm it down, man. You good. What I just asked for. 1 John chapter 4, verse 1. 1 John chapter 4, verse 1. Beloved, believe not every Ruach, but try the Ruachs whether they are of Elohim, because many false prophets are gone out into the world. Hereby know ye the Ruach of Elohim, every Ruach that confess that Yahushua HaMashiach is come in the flesh is of Elohim. And every Ruach that confess not that Yahushua HaMashiach is come in the flesh is not of Elohim. And this is the Ruach of anti-Mashiach, whereof you have heard that it should come, and even now already is it in the world. So if a man is speaking to be possessed by the Ruach HaKodesh, that he possesses that Yah is his teacher, then that Ruach should be testifying of the Son of the living Elohim, and he should be bearing witness of him as the scriptures have said. Let's look at an example of what I'm referring to. Acts chapter 22. Calm it down, son. Calm it down. Get a hold of your life, man. The food's coming, bro. It's coming. Acts chapter 22, verse 13. Yes, Leah, I think she can see that. Acts 22 and 13. And then Acts 28. And in fact, Acts 18 after Acts 22 and then Acts 28. Came unto me and stood and said unto me, Brother Shaul, receive thy sight. And the same hour I looked upon him. And he said, the Elohim of our fathers have chosen thee, that thou should know his will, and see that just one, and should hear the voice of his mouth. Now I'm just going to mention this to you. You don't have to go get it, but I'm going to tell you where it's at. And I'm just going to read to you Proverbs chapter 8 again, like I did a couple weeks ago. And in Proverbs chapter 8, this man say, Baruch is the man that hear me, watching daily at my gates, waiting at the post of my doors. He say, Baruch is the man that hear me. This man just sat back and said that you should hear the voice of his mouth. This man say, my sheep know my voice and they follow me. So knowing that if you had this Ruach of truth, it said it will testify of the Son of the living Elohim, and you would bear witness of him. This is what he said this Ruach would do. That it would have the ability to perform this and to do this. So this is one of the evidences that a man should be able to manifest if he claims that Yahuwah is his teacher. Not claiming that he's got the Ruach. Please don't misunderstand what I'm stating. Because you could have the Ruach and not be a preacher. You could have the Ruach because you heard the word and you believed it and you were sealed. That does not mean that you are a preacher. I also want y'all to understand that if you receive the Ruach, it's not guaranteed that you would get a gift, because the Ruach is a gift in and of itself. That's the gift of eternal life. The wages of sin is death, but the gift of eternal life is through our Master Yahushua HaMashiach. So understand that. The Ruach itself is a gift. The things that come of the Ruach are gifts, and Yahuwah gives that to whom he so chooses. So just understand, just if you attain the Ruach does not guarantee that you will achieve a spiritual gift. I pray that if you do receive it, that Yahuwah gives it to you in full measure, and that you receive whichever gift that he deems just and upright to impart unto you, that he may be esteemed in Shamahim, and that his will may be accomplished upon this earth. That's my hope for all of y'all. Now, whether you attain it or not is contingent on your faith and your behavior, and that has absolutely nothing to do with me. You know what I'm saying? Because all I can do is give you the information. I can't make you believe it, and I can't make you do it. You know what I'm saying? It's bottom line, I can't. You know what I'm saying? You have to believe it, and you have to want to do it. See, you know what gets people in trouble is they have a good motivation when they start to do something, but it doesn't last. You have to have a burning desire for success, continue. You can't never be comfortable. I have a number in my head for something that I'm doing. It's a very large number. I've already narrowed it down to know how to accomplish what needs to be done to attain that number. And once I attain that number, I will want twice that after that. And after I get that twice that, I'm going to want twice that. And after I get twice that, I'm going to want twice that. Unless I don't want to do that no more, then I might sell it or give it to somebody else and not be an active participant and receive residual money from that and go do something else. If I feel like I'm no longer challenged, I've attained my goal and I want to go do something else. Because you can't never get comfortable. Now, I will say this. I'll give you this little nugget. And what I do for a living, most people feel like if they can get in with one particular company, they straight. And they stop and they feel like, you know, we're cool. I feel like in my particular market area, there may be 100, 200, 300 potential customers. And me just being me, I want 100 of them. You know what I'm saying? Because I look at, you know how many people that I can help by that money that I can make? You know how much good can be executed from that? Because I'm not complacent. I've been doing this work for 7 years. I ain't got comfortable a day. Not one day. Where I felt like I'm straight. Not one day. Ain't never straight. You'll never feel that way. Feel that way, you're going to lose. Because you'll rest on your laurels and think you're this and you're that. And you're going to lose. Verse 15. For thou should be his witness unto all men of what thou hast seen and heard, and why thou tarry, and now why tarry thou, arise and be immersed and wash away thy sins, calling on the name of the Master. So if he's going to bear witness of this man, that means he received the Ruach. You know, Paul stated that. He said, and I believe I have the Ruach HaKadosh. He done received this man's Ruach. And let's see if Paul went to go about testifying him. Let's read Acts 28 before we read Acts 18. Got to switch books. Acts 28 and 23. Acts 28 and 23. And when they had appointed him a day, there came many unto him into his lodging, to whom he expounded and testified the kingdom of Elohim, persuading men concerning Yahushua, both out of the Torah of Moses and out of the prophets, from morning until evening. And some believed the things which were spoken, and some believed not. So we sit back and we see Paul. We're not going to great deal. Like, we're going to read Acts chapter 18, but it's 8 o'clock, so I got to roll. Come on back to Isaiah 33. But, no, Genesis 19. In Acts 18, you'll see that it'll say that Apollos of Alexandria was filled with the Ruach HaKadosh, and that he bare witness and showed publicly out of the scriptures that Yahushua was Mashiach. So again, it's showing that if that is inside of you, then you will testify of him. So when you hear people say the Ruach is their teacher, Yahuwah is their teacher, and they're not bearing witness of the Son, then you know that they do not possess that. Because that's what he said. That's what the master said that his ruach would do. That's not what I said. That's what the master said. So if the master said that, he's showing you what the evidence is of someone who possesses it. And we just went and looked at Paul just to see an example of that. Genesis 19. Sit back and look at these people get burnt up. Because they say his enemies flee and they scatter. I said Exodus, I meant to say Genesis. What we got? Genesis chapter 19, verse 26. Matter of fact, make it about 21. And he said unto him, see, I have accepted thee concerning this thing. I will not overthrow this city for which thou hast spoken. Haste thee and escape thither, for I cannot do anything till thou come thither. Therefore the name of that city was called Zoar. The sun was risen upon the earth when Lot entered into Zoar. Then Yahuwah rained upon Sodom and upon Gomorrah brimstone and fire from Yahuwah out of Shamahim. What do y'all think that? Now think about that, right? He said the sun was risen and then that came down. Why would that be important? Anybody got any idea why it would even say that or state that? He said the sun was risen and then the fire came. Well, let's look and see why. Let's look and see why. Matthew chapter 24. Matthew chapter 24. Matter of fact, not even Matthew chapter 24. Matthew chapter 24. I want to say probably about verse. Matter of fact, make it 2 Thessalonians chapter 1. Make it 2 Thessalonians chapter 1. 2 Thessalonians chapter 1. Verse 8. And flaming fire, taking vengeance on them that know not Elohim. This is what happened to them people in Sodom and Gomorrah. This is what's going to happen to people who serve their flesh. Remember, he said they walk in their flesh, they despise government. Because if you walk in your flesh, remember, the carnal mind is enmity against Elohim. It's not subject to the law of Elohim, neither indeed can be. So when you walk in your flesh and you desire your flesh, this will cause you to show forth that you despise the authority of Elohim. In flaming fire, taking vengeance on them that know not Elohim and that obey not the gospel of our master Yahushua HaMashiach. So if you do not believe, because they say, by the knowledge of my righteous servant, he shall justify many. If you do not obey the gospel, it means you don't believe the word. This man is going to kill you. Because obviously you can't know Elohim. Because you wouldn't have an understanding. We know that he's come to give an understanding. To know him that is true, and we are in him that is true. This is the true Elohim, even eternal life. So to know Elohim is to know his son, which is to gain an understanding. Which means somebody has to publish that to you. Somebody has to manifest that information to you. This is the next thing he said. Who shall be punished with everlasting destruction from the presence of the master and from the esteem of his power. That's the same thing that we heard when we started off in Psalm 68. It caused these people to scatter because they must be destroyed. And they're going to be destroyed because of their despising of rulership and authority of Yahuwah, and because they don't know him, and because they would rather walk in the lust of their flesh, and to walk in the uncleanness of the flesh, and to have their garments spotted by it. And that's what happened to the people in Sodom and Gomorrah. So he said he would cause the sun to rise, and then he rain fire down. Well, all you have to do that, Hebrews chapter 9, verse 27. Oh, man. One of these days I get to go to sleep. Not 9 and 27, everybody. 9 and 26. But then must he often have suffered since the foundation of the world. But now once in the end of the world, he has appeared to put away sin by the sacrifice of himself. And it is as appointed unto men once to die, but after this the judgment. So Mashiach was once offered to bear the sins of many, and unto them that look for him he shall appear the second time without sin unto salvation. So he ain't coming as taking on your sins when he come back here. He's coming to save, and he's going to come to smash. Another thing we could look at is you'll see Babylon on fire, and these people looking sad. But when you see that the sun rised up in Genesis, and then he rained the fire down, because you know he told you in the book of Isaiah in about the 66th chapter and about the 15th verse that by fire and the sword he shall plead with all flesh, and the slain of Yahuwah shall be many. See, when the sun, as he sit back and he tell you, when he rises up and he comes to devour the prey, that's going to be light on the world. Let's look at Zechariah 14. Matter of fact, let me go on and get to Matthew 24:31. There's Zechariah 14. I'll just tell you what Zechariah 14 and 5 say. It's about 8:08. I got to move quick. I got to try to take me a nap. Because y'all knows I won't sleep again. Good. Shoot. Till next Friday, probably. I love it though. Verse 30 though, 24 and 30. Make it 24 and 29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be dark, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from Shamahim, and the powers of Shamahim shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in Shamahim. Then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of Shamahim with power and great esteem. Well, we know that Elohim is light, and in him is no part darkness. So we know when the sun rises, and when this man returns, the sun is rising, and he's going to cause fire to rain down. Peter already told you that the earth and the elements would melt with fervent heat. He said, what manner of people ought you to be in all manner of Kadesh behavior? So we have to begin to ask ourselves. Because see, I know the little brother on the call, talking about his debate with this dude, you know what I mean? And he was like, if you keep the law, you're saying the law saves you. We're not saying that the law saves us. We know by all means it's the blood of Mashiach that delivered us. We know that from knowing what happened in Exodus. We understand that. We know that. We know that our faith is not in the law. Our faith is in Yahushua HaMashiach. And that he is who he said he is. And he did what he said he would do. And he fulfilled the word in order that we might have the power to become the sons of the living Elohim. But we also know that our Elohim is a Kadash Elohim. And that he sanctified himself in Kadashness and righteousness. And that he ordained that all those who follow him ought to do the same. So therefore, we would not walk in uncleanness and the lust of the flesh and fulfilling our desires. I hear dudes all the time, the law, it's not Moses' law. He didn't come up with it. He said, who instructed Yahuwah in the way of righteousness or taught him understanding? He taught Moses knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to impart unto us. To impart unto us. So, Yahuwah gave the word, and great is the company of those who published it. Because all Moses did was publish the word. Yahuwah gave it to him, he published it. Period. You know what I'm saying? It's no different when Moses being made as Elohim and Aaron being made as prophet. Elohim gave Aaron the word, gave the light beard the word, and he published it. You know what I'm saying? Same difference. Same difference. But let me go back to the Genesis 19, because that's what we're going to be talking about. And y'all willing, I'm going to go into that in greater detail on the Shabbat. And then obviously I'm going to transition, because I am not through with our dear sisters. I'm not through with the ladies. I still got more stuff for them. And every Shabbat in flesh until Yahuwah deems otherwise, they will get that. Let me get around there, y'all. I'm old. I'm sorry. Genesis 19 and 23. So when it says the sun was risen upon the earth when Lot entered into Zohar. Now let me look at something real fast. Bear with me for a moment, people. With me for a moment, because I'm old and I'm tired. I'm tired and I'm old. Hold on. She's being a real live whore right now. Golly. One second, there we go. Boom. What in the blue blazes? This is not supposed to look like that. That's much better. When we sit back and we look at it so hard, it means insignificance. Insignificance. And it says as soon as Lot entered into insignificance, that's when he began to destroy this place. Now, why would we think that that would be important that this place was called insignificant? Because remember, he said that, right? He said, I can't do anything till you come hither. I can't do nothing till you come out. Matter of fact, 2 Corinthians chapter 10, probably about verse 1. Because let's look at something. Because he said that Lot was vexed with the deeds of the wicked. And then he just said that I can't do nothing until you come into this insignificant place. I can't do nothing until you come up out of here. And then I'm going to smash it. 2 Corinthians chapter 10. Let's just hit my head real fast. Listen what he tell you. Now I, Paul, myself beseech you by the meekness and gentleness of Mashiach, who in presence am base among you, but being absent and bold toward you. But I beseech you that I may not be bold when I am present with that confidence, wherein I think to be bold against some which think of us as if we walk according to the flesh. You know what I'm saying? Now I ask y'all something. Do people think that y'all walk according to the flesh? And it's like this here, right? Because I know that some people feel this way. Now I want y'all to know something. I want you to understand clearly what I'm about to say. There is no shame in stating that you know that you're Abarim, that you're a Hebrew. There's no shame in saying that you are from the seed of Yasharal. There's no shame in you stating that you know that you're an Israelite. There's definitely, without question, which you should proclaim regularly if you live according to that rule, that you are Yahudim. There's no shame in that. The shame is when you begin to walk according to it, and your boldness and your confidence is according to that. See, a lot of brothers sit back and look at it, as you see a lot of our brothers, their boldness and confidence is in the law, and it's not in Mashiach. This is where these unlearned men who don't really know Mashiach get their vantage point to come in and talk and speak and say the things that they say. So, nevertheless, for though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through Elohim to the pulling down of strongholds, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of Elohim, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Mashiach. That's what some of y'all need to sit back and begin to realize. That every thought that is exalting itself against Mashiach that would cause you to go contrary to the word, you need to bring that stuff into captivity or bondage to the word and keep your flesh under subjection. Because it could cost you your life. Because as I told y'all before, you know what I'm saying? Well, I told y'all before. Good grief. Once you know the word, and you go do something contrary to the word, you're putting yourself at risk because you're sinning willfully. And the only remedy according to this word, which we dealt with in the past, and maybe you who are willing, we might need to reiterate, is that you need to exhibit godly sorrow. Because obviously we know David knew what he did was wrong. But it was the shame and the sorrow and the contrite heart that he had is why Yahuwah spared him. This is why he spared him. So I'm going to tell you something. When you do something and you are not ashamed, you will do it again. And I ain't talking about being shamed because you got caught. I'm not talking being shamed because somebody knew. Because there were people in this word that when they did certain things and they humbled themselves before Yahuwah, that man forgave them for that. Even people who he had pronounced a judgment against. That don't mean that he turned from the judgment that he said he was going to do, because he did what he said he was going to do. But he had mercy on them because of their humility and the humble and contrite heart that they exhibited, because they were ashamed of their behavior. If you can look at something and you are not ashamed of it, you will do it again. That's not exhibiting that godly sorrow, which means that you would never be capable of bringing every thought into captivity. Because thoughts will arise because you're in this carnal body, in this carnal vessel. But you have to shoot them down with the word and say that, no, I'm not going to do that. Because as a man thinketh, so he is. And if you think about sin too long, like the master said, it's not what outwardly that defiles a man, it's what inwardly. It's the thoughts that you have. Because the thoughts that you have will manifest in the actions. You know what I'm saying? Verse 6, though, and having in readiness to revenge all disobedience when your obedience is fulfilled. And that's the reason why we came there to do that there, because see, we have to sit back and look at Lot. See, Lot had every thought in the captivity, the obedience of Mashiach, because this man sat back and he was vexed looking at these people's wicked deeds. He was not pleased with it. And if you notice that it states that having in readiness to revenge all disobedience when your obedience was fulfilled. You sit back and look at that man was ready to revenge all these people's disobedience because Lot obeyed. And it's the same token of what's going to happen at the end of the world. When Mashiach returns, he's going to be seeking to execute vengeance on all those who disobeyed and spare those who obeyed. Again, I will reiterate that. And having in readiness to revenge all disobedience when your obedience is fulfilled. That's why he say he'll appear the second time without sin unto salvation. This man is ready to revenge all disobedience when your obedience is fulfilled. It's the same token of what he did to Pharaoh coming up out of Mizraim. He was ready to revenge all their disobedience when your obedience was fulfilled when you put the blood on the doorpost. You understand what I'm talking about? Or you can sit back and you can say the same thing with David when he bought that thing on the threshing room floor. To revenge. This is how this man operates. It's the same. Let me tell you, not that one else. That's not a good example. Or you can sit back and say he revenged the disobedience on Saul when David's obedience was fulfilled. It goes on and on and on. Or put this right here, right? Or he executed vengeance on death when Mashiach's obedience was fulfilled. Because this is what Yahuwah aims to do. He aims to execute vengeance on those who disobey when those who obey, that everything is complete. So you have to sit back and understand that, to know that vengeance is mine, saith Yahuwah, I shall repay. Because there was an instance, not one time, not two times, possibly three for me, where I was ready to go slap a few people's mouth loose. I'm not finna go into no details on what I'm referring to. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. You know what I'm saying? If you ask, I may tell you. I may not. Depends on how you catch me at the time. You know what I'm saying? And certain things would come and tell me, no, you can't do that. And he vindicated me every time. Praise y'all for that. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes you want to go handle that. You want to go handle that. You know what I'm saying? You want to go handle that. But that's not the way to go handle things. You know what I'm saying? You know, praise y'all for the word. It's a lot of stuff because of the word I will not say or do. You know what I'm saying? When your mind clicking and say, you know what? Boom. I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that. But then you remember the word and you can't do that. Come on back to Genesis chapter 19, though. You got to remember that this man is ready to revenge all disobedience when your obedience is fulfilled. That's just what he did for Lot. There has to be a reward for the righteous. It has to be. Or Yahuwah would be unjust. And one thing for certain and two things for sure. Yahuwah a lot of things and unjust ain't one of them. Verse 24 again, and Yahuwah rained upon Sodom and upon Gomorrah brimstone and fire from out of Shamahim, and he overthrew those cities and all the plain and all the inhabitants of those cities and that which grew upon the ground. But his wife looked back from behind him, and she became a pillar of salt. Now let's look at something in Luke chapter 9. It's not directly dealing with this here, but nevertheless. Luke chapter 9. So I want to tell y'all something. Looking back get you messed up. You know, sense of looking back, see, them people were dead. She died with them. Let's see why. 9 and 59. Because she should have been following Lot. Luke 9 and 59. Now I'm going to tell y'all something. I will never tell y'all who y'all can and can't talk to. I'll never tell you who you can and can't see. I won't tell you who you can and can't hang out with because you're grown. You know what I'm saying? But I will say this. If you have a real strong desire for the word, your desire to be around wickedness, whether it be for anybody who professes to walk in the way of Kadesh, or whether they don't, you will not have a desire to be around it and see it. I guarantee you that. You know what I'm saying? And you will steadily remove yourself from that. You will sanctify yourself from that because it will disgust you. You know, the master told us in Luke chapter 6 that men would separate themselves from your company. You know what I'm saying? Because if you really live this here, people separate you from their company. They won't holler at you. They won't come see you. You know what I'm saying? And that's whether they profess this or they don't. There is no, I'm not saying, oh, only people who profess faith in this. No, I ain't even on that. I'm talking about period. Period. You know what I'm saying? You have to learn to let the dead bury the dead. If they dead, you got to leave them now. And if they decide to arise up out of darkness, like Paul said, Mashiach said, arise and give thee light. If they decide to come up out of their darkness, that's a whole different story. Because I done told you before, there's certain people that they feel like this here old man. If they were to say, you know what, they'll be like what it is in Luke 16. Boy, I know I need to get myself in line and together and deliver my soul and return like he did. I ain't gonna turn him away. You know what I'm saying? Yahuwah ain't never turned nobody who repented away, who had a contrite and humble heart. So who would I be to do it? Who would I be to do it? Sometimes you got to sit back, put your flesh, put all that personal stuff to the side. Are you really about saving soul? Or are you really about just flexing what you know? Or are you really about just looking good in public? Or are you just doing something? Or do you really have a genuine care for the salvation of people's souls? Do you have a genuine care that a man saves his soul alive? And most people don't. Because they don't care about their own soul, so you know they don't care about nobody else's. Luke 9:59. And he said unto another, follow me. But he said, Master, suffer me first to go bury my father. Yahushua said unto him, let the dead bury their dead, but go thou and preach the kingdom of Elohim. Another also said, Master, I will follow thee, but let me first go bid them farewell, which are at home in my house. Yahushua said unto him, no man having put his hand to the plow and looking back is fit for the kingdom of Elohim. That's the reason why we look at this here, right? She went to go and look back. She was not fit to go where Yahuwah was bringing them out to because she had a desire to stay. So if you sit back and you look at it, that if Yahuwah is calling you out to the high calling of Yahushua HaMashiach to bring you unto him, to be unto him, ain't no looking back. You mean say you're not fit for the kingdom of Elohim at this point. If you're going to put your hand to do the work, then do the work. Period. Bottom line. That's how you have to look at it. If you're going to do the work, then come do the work and get it in. Isaiah 33. And like 11. So we read 10, right? That's why we looked at that. Now will I rise, saith Yahuwah. Now will I be exalted. Now will I lift up myself. Because now I have to raise myself up. Now I have to be, like he said, coming in great esteem. Let's see what happens when he does this. You shall conceive chaff, you shall bring forth stubble. Your breath as fire shall devour you. And the people shall be as burnings of lime. As thorns cut up shall they be burnt in the fire. Hear ye that are far off what I have done, and ye that are near acknowledge my might. The sinners in Zion are afraid. Filthiness have surprised the hypocrites. Who among us shall dwell with the devouring fire? Who among us shall dwell with everlasting burnings? He's asking you, who gonna dwell with that? Because this man said, come on back to Psalm 68. Yeah, I'll save the second half of that for the other. I kind of dropped what it is in Psalm 68, what I was intending on doing. But pray be the Lamb, I'll save it. Save it for the Shabbat if he spare my life. So we look at Psalm 68 and he say, let his enemies be scattered and let them that hate him flee before him. As smoke is driven away, drive them away. As wax melt before the fire, so let the wicked perish in the presence of Elohim. Let's look at some in Revelation chapter 6 and let's see how his enemies flee away. Come and tell y'all something. You know, Revelation 1:7 tells you that they'll wail and holler because of him. Because it's a lot of people. They're going to be running and hollering and screaming. And when we say his enemies, who is his enemies? You know, Paul say you, matter of fact, let me show y'all something. Acts chapter 8 before Revelation chapter 6. Chapter 5, I should say. Acts chapter 8. Acts chapter 8. Let me see what this is. That is not what I'm saying. It's in my head. That is not where it's at. That is not where it's at. Hold on, y'all. Acts chapter 8. I'm trying to remember what it's at. You know, John chapter 8, verse 44, he said, you above your father, the devil, and the lust of your father you will do. That's what he told you. That's what he told you. And it's a lot of people that they children of the devil. And they do a lot of things of the devil. Okay, there we go. Acts chapter 13. That's what it is. And I knew I was going to misquote it, so I had to go get it. Acts chapter 13, probably about verse 7. Listen what he say now. Listen what he say. This is what's going to happen to the wicked. This is why they're going to be running. This is what happened with the enemy. Listen to the enemy. This is what his enemy's on. Acts chapter 13, verse 7. Which was the deputy of the country Sergius Paulus, a prudent man, who called for Barnabas and Saul, and desired to hear the word of Elohim. But Elymas the sorcerer, for so is his name by interpretation, withstood them, seeking to turn away the deputy from the faith. So you have to watch that. Because that's what I'm telling y'all something, right? This is why you shouldn't always engage everybody. That's why he told you to try to run, because you will have some people that will seek to turn away you from the faith. An example of what we're looking at right here is that's Nehemiah. Let's look at that in the book of Nehemiah. Hold this, I'll give you an example. Nehemiah chapter 8, if I'm not mistaken. If it ain't 8, it's 7. Hallelujah for the word. Let me see. Nehemiah 8. It ain't Nehemiah 8. Might be Nehemiah 6 or 5. Nehemiah chapter 6. Let's look at verse 10. Make it 9. Matter of fact, make it 8. Nehemiah chapter 6, verse 8. Then I said unto him, saying, there are no such things. Well, let's verse 7. Thou hast also appointed prophets to preach of thee at Jerusalem, saying, there is a king in Yehuda, and now it shall be reported to the king according to these words. Come now, therefore, and let us take counsel together. Then I said unto him, saying, there are no such things done as thou say, but thou feigned them out of thy own heart. For they all made us afraid, saying, their hands shall be weakened from the work, that it be not done. Now therefore Elohim strengthen my hands. Afterwards I came unto the house of Shemaiah, the son of Deliah, the son of Methabiel, who was shut up, and he said, let us meet together in the house of Elohim within the temple, and let us shut the doors of the temple, so they will come to slay thee. Yea, in the night they will come to slay thee. You ought to know what that sound like, because they definitely came in the night to slay the master, just like they were trying to warn Nehemiah, they're going to come at night to slay you. And as such a man as I flee, who is there, being as I am? Oh, hold on, y'all. I forgot. She unhooked that battery. My apologies, y'all. I forgot Lizzie had them. Unhooked the battery. So he said, as such a man as I, who is there that being as I am, would go into the temple to save his life, I will not go in. That's the same way the master said he wasn't going nowhere. And you have to have that same mind frame that you trust in Elohim when you flee, because his enemies, which would be your enemies, come against you and try to put fear in your heart to turn you from the faith. It was another place where he said, the prophet, it was a prophetess, it was a lady, along with Sanballat and another person, sending them out there to Nehemiah to try to put fear in his heart, that he might turn from the work and that he might sin. And you have to be careful of that, because that's what this man was doing, trying to turn them from the faith. And you have people who will try to turn you from the faith. And you have to be aware of that. Let me finish this last thing, though, because I'm about to read the part that I just said. So, and lo, I perceived that Elohim had not sent him, but that he had pronounced this prophecy against me, for Tobiah and Sanballat had hired him. Therefore was he hired, that I should be afraid and do so and sin, that they might have a matter for an evil report, that they might reproach me. My Elohim think upon Tobiah and Sanballat according to these their works, and on the prophetess Nodiah and the rest of the prophets that would have put me in fear. See, they were trying to turn it from the faith. And that's what a lot of people come do. They try to say things to you, make you think you this, make you think you that, say this or say that, to make you lose your faith, especially when they evil, because these people were evil. Come on back, Acts chapter 13. And there's a reason why I looked at this, so just bear with me. Verse 8 again. But Elymas the sorcerer, For so is his name by interpretation withstood them, seeking to turn away the deputy from the faith. So he was a sorcerer, which means he was rebellious. He bucking the word. And also a literal sorcerer. Then Saul, who was also called Paul, filled with the Ruach HaKodesh, set his eyes on him. Again, going back to what we were talking about when we looked at Acts 22, when it was recounting his immersion. It was recounting it in Acts 22. And said, O full of all subtlety and all mischief. Now remember, one of the things that Yahuwah hates is a heart full of wicked imaginations. Feet that is quick to running to mischief. So when we look at subtlety, we know we go back to the beginning and it say the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field that Yahuwah had made. So when you turn around and you look at that, it's subtlety or slidiness or lying or sneakiness or craftiness is an attribute of his enemies. And that's an attribute that they use to manipulate his people. And that they're set on doing mischief. Set on running to, because the serpent was set on the mischief of killing Eve, killing Adam. The scribes and the Pharisees and Judas was set on mischief on killing Mashiach. And so subtlety and mischief are signs of the children of Satan. The sign of his enemies. He say, O full of subtlety and all mischief, thou child of the devil, thou enemy of all righteousness. Wilt thou not cease to pervert the right ways of Yahuwah? And now behold, the hand of Yahuwah is upon thee. And thou shalt be blind, not seeing the sun for a season. And immediately there fell on him a mist and a darkness, and he went about seeking someone to lead him by the hand. See, and that can what happened. So when we look at darkness and we know that Elohim is light and no part dark, if we look at that in the spiritual sense, this man could cause your eyes to go blind that you don't know the way that you go. And he say, John chapter 11. John chapter 11. John chapter 11. Just do it like that. John chapter 11. Verse 9. And then Revelation chapter 5, verse 12, if I'm not mistaken. Yahushua answered, are there not 12 hours in the day? If any man walk in the day, he stumble not, because he see the light of this world. But if a man walk in the night, he stumble, because there is no light in him. See, this man right here, because remember what he said about Satan. He said he's a liar and the father of it, and there's no truth in him. And Elohim is light and no part darkness. So you sit back as you see that representation of this man being made blind. It's being represented of him not actually being able to see the word and walk in it to his own detriment. But it said it's for a season. So may Yahuwah may have had mercy on him at a later time that might cause him to repent and turn from his deeds, because judgment will execute upon him. But what we see about the children of the devil is that they're subtle, they're full of mischief, and they're enemies to the things that are right. And if you're enemy to the things that are right, you're enemies to those that are right. You have to remember that. Enemy of all righteousness. Enemy of all things that are upright, even words of truth. Revelation chapter 5, though. It was Revelation 6. My apologies, everybody. 6 and 15. And the kings of the earth and the great men and the rich men and the chief captains and the mighty men and every bondman and every free man hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains. And the mountains and the rocks, and said, my apologies, to the mountains and the rocks, fall on us from the face of him that sit on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath to come, who shall be able to stand? They would wail and holler, even so be it. That's hard right there. He's going to cause these people to scatter. Remember, he say chaff and thorn, briars and thorns are rejected and not unto cursing. Their end is to be burned. Psalms 68. Psalms 68. That hard as concrete. Boy, that's the hardest thing since MC Ren. That would I say, that's hard, boy. I'm going to read verse 3, though. But let the righteous be glad, and let them rejoice before Elohim. Yea, let them rejoice exceedingly. Sing unto Elohim, sing praises to his name, extol him that ride upon the Shamahim by his name Yah, rejoice before him. I will read that again. And then after I read that again, we will read Matthew chapter 26 and about verse 62. And after we read Matthew chapter 26 about verse 62, we will read Revelation chapter 18 and Revelation chapter 19, and we will conclude for the evening. I will read that again. But let the righteous be glad, and let them rejoice before Elohim. Yea, let them exceedingly rejoice. Sing unto Elohim, sing praises to his name, extol him that ride upon Shamahim by his name Yah. Rejoice before him. So this man is stating that after he smashed the wicked, that the righteous ought to rejoice. And they say he rides upon a cloud. And remember, he said, he come in his father's name, and you receive him not. He said he's going to come upon a cloud. He said you ought to rejoice. Matthew chapter 26. I guess I'll read Revelation 1 and 7 since I flipped to Revelation 1 and 7 on my way to Matthew 26. Matthew chapter 26, verse 62. Matthew 26, about verse 62. And the high priest arose and said unto him, answer thou nothing, what is it which these witness against thee? But Yahushua held his shalom, and the high priest answered and said unto him, I adjure thee by the living Elohim, that thou tell us whether thou be the Mashiach, the son of Elohim. Yahushua saith unto him, thou hast said, nevertheless, I say unto you, hereafter you shall see the Son of Man sitting on the right hand of power and coming in the clouds of Shamahim. He said, extol him that ride upon the cloud by his name. Revelation 1 and 7. Say, come in the name of Yahuwah, and you receive him not. If another come in his own name, him you will receive. This is why the wicked, see, that's understand now. You got to understand this, right? Because the master already told you this here. When the beast come, these people, he's coming in his own name. He's not coming in the name of Yahuwah. And everyone will receive him. See, the master already warned you about this. He said, I come in the name of Yahuwah. I come in the name of my Father. You receive me not. Another come in his own name, him you will receive. He comes speaking of himself. You're going to accept him. So the righteous will be mourning at all the things that's going to be going down. But they will rejoice when this man comes to revenge the disobedience, when your obedience is fulfilled, because you didn't take the mark of the beast, you didn't bow down to his image, and you were willing to die for the word. Therefore, he will revenge all their disobedience because your obedience has been completed, and regulate his wrath on these people. And they'll be scattered, and they'll be running, and they will be burned because they're not unto cursing. If you understand, if you follow me. So, knowing that this man say he's coming on these clouds, he's coming in the name of Yah. He told you in the book of Luke that you will not see me again till you say, let's get it. Luke chapter 18. I want you to hear it from his own mouth. I don't want to tell it to you. I'll let the master tell it to you before we read Revelation 1 and 7. Luke chapter 18. Or is it 19? It's 19. No, it is not 19. I don't know this book. I gotta get my book. I want to say it's 1834. 1934. Let me see. It is in my book, though. I gotta hurry up. It's 8:40. We're already went about a tad bit too long.